Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's virtual info session on eClass and SAVY. My name is Caitlin, and I'm a part of the new student transition team. We're so glad you could join us today as you prepare for the start of your journey here at York. Today's session is all about two essential tools, eClass and SAVY. As a student at York, you'll be making use of these resources a lot, so this is the perfect opportunity to ask questions directly to the representatives of these departments. We're excited to be joined by Janene from the eClass team and Nick from the SAVY team, and they'll be leading today's presentation. Feel free to use the chat to ask any questions throughout the session. We'll do our best to answer them during the Q&A at the end of the session. With that, I'll pass it over to Rachel to get us started with a quick survey before we get into the presentation.
All right, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. Before we begin, we're going to do a quick survey. And in this survey, we're just checking in on your knowledge for our next subject. And note that there are no right or wrong answers. To join us, please join us at menti.com and use the code 48673269. Again, just search in menti.com on your browser or Safari, Google Chrome, whatever you're using, and join us with the code 48673269, and I'm gonna ask that that's gonna put in the chat. And also, if you're unable to join us with this Menti code, please feel free to use the chat option in the Zoom to put your answers in, and we'll also be watching that as well. Again, if you're just joining us, thank you for joining us. Please join us at menti.com for the survey and use the code 48673269. And also feel free to leave your answers in the chat and we'll also respond to that. So we're going to get started now. So let us know, where are you joining us from? Where in the world are you joining us from? Toronto, okay. Mostly domestic. Newmarket, okay. We see Toronto in the Zoom chat. Mexico, thank you for joining us. Markham, Scarborough, Mississauga, Vancouver, Ireland, Toronto, thank you for joining us. So most people are at least within Canada. That's wonderful to see. See Etobicoke. Wonderful. Thank you for joining us today, wherever you're joining us from. We hope you're able to learn great things from today's session that you'll be able to use in your first year at York. Moving on to the next slide. So which of the following best describes you? Are you an incoming first-year student? Are you a transfer student? Or are you a parent, family, or guardian of a first-year student? Okay, most folks are incoming first-year students. That's wonderful. We have few transfer students here. Thank you for joining us today. Again, if you're just joining us, please feel free to join us at menti.com and use the code 48673269. And also, you feel free to leave your answers in the Zoom chat if you're just joining us. Okay, moving on to the next question. What is one word to describe how you're feeling about starting university? Excited, that's great. Most people are excited, okay. Nervous, that's very valid. University is a whole new transition to a different stage of life. So every feeling, every emotion is very valid. So scared, hopeful, hyped, that's wonderful. Anxious, confused. We hope we're able to make things clearer for you today and bring more clarification as you're starting your university journey. Okay, to the next slide, please. So what are you hoping to learn from today's session? So today's session is all about eClass and SAVY, which are two important resources that you'll be using throughout your years at York University. So what are you hoping to learn most from today's session? eClass, okay. eClass skills, navigating eClass. Wonderful. eClass is something you will use as students mostly all of the time to access your courses. So this is such a wonderful tool today. And moving on to the next slide. So thank you everyone for sharing. We're so glad you're here. Sit tight and the session will begin shortly. In the meantime, please feel free to get comfy, grab a drink, and say hi in the chat. And let's get started on your journey. So I'm going to pass it on to Janae from eClass to get started. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our intro session. I will be talking about the eClass. It's our learning management system. So let me share my screen and we'll go through some of the information together. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so eClass is the learning management system that we use at York. It's globally used across many different institutions, educational or non-educational. It's a very flexible tool. It uses a variety of different file formats and allows many different assessment tools. And that's one of the reasons it's being used at York for the learning management system. So what I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to go over some of the activities that are mainly used within our system, and some of the little hints that would help you in your journey. Why is it not? Okay. So when you actually go to eClass, I think I missed this slide. One moment. Let me go back. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so eClass is accessed at eclass.yorku.ca. The very first time you access it, you will need to complete your profile. So once you log in using your username and password, York username and password, you are taken to the profile page. The system will not let you go anywhere unless you complete your profile. And that includes your first name, last name, email address. In addition to that, one of the important fields to complete is a time zone. And the reason for that is because the due date and deadline for your work will be controlled by the time zone. So make sure to put all these in your profile, save it. Once you save the file, the profile, it will send you an email with a link that would validate your email address. That step is required before you go anywhere else on the eClass page. So once that's done, then you can navigate through different pages on eClass. So this slide keeps jumping on me for some reason. Okay, there we go. So let's go only one slide. Now I'm going to show you what you see when you log in the very first time once your profile is complete. So this is the page that you will go on. You will be on the dashboard page. Actually, let me go on the dashboard page. On your dashboard page, this page includes some of the your recently accessed courses. On the top, you'll see three buttons: dashboard, my courses, and on the right side, you have the user menu. And some of these I will go over later on. On this page, this is basically a place that you can customize and put things that will give you easy access to areas that you most commonly use. Now, if you look, there is a middle section. This banner gives you notification about important events that happens across York. And below it, it's the recently added access courses. On the right side, there are some blocks that are mostly resources that you could take advantage in your journey at York. Now, as I said, you can customize this page. If you notice, there is a link here. It says edit mode. You can turn that on and it allows you to add different sections. For example, when you click on this, it gives you all the available resources that you can add to your blog section that will give you access to that area. Now, when you're trying to access your courses, all your courses will be listed under My Courses. So if you click on that, you will see a list of all the courses that you are enrolled in. Now there is a filter here. If you notice, I've filtered by star. So you can star courses by going to the three-dot menu. You can add or remove them. It's a toggle. You can also remove courses from view. So that is mainly used when you have finished with a course. Let's say it's a winter course. You no longer need the fall course and you don't want to see it. It's just cluttering your page. So you can come here and you say hide it from the view. It is hidden. However, you can access it from here. So all your hidden courses are still accessible and you can view them from here. In here, as you notice, there are different filters. So you can see the courses that are currently happening, future courses, or your past courses. So these are all there for you to allow easy navigation. There's also pagination. So if you have many courses, it will give you a page number that you can go back and forth between them. Now, there is another item you see here. It says hidden from students. So what does that mean? Sometimes instructors are working on their courses, and especially at the very beginning of the year or at the beginning of the semester, when they are not ready to release the course is hidden. That means when you see this, that means you're enrolled in the course, everything is good, you're just waiting for the instructor to make the course visible. So that's perfectly fine. Now, if you don't see your course in here, you are assuming that you're registered, but you don't see anything here. In that case, the first step is to check your enrollment. Make sure you are registered for the course. And if that is out of the picture, then you want to get in touch with your instructors. Sometimes instructors choose not to use eClass. It's very rare, mostly use eClass. However, you can reach out to the instructor to find out whether or not they will be planning to use eClass and if the course has been released or not. So that would be the course of action. So let's say you're enrolled in a course. You click on the course title to access the course. Once you are on the course page, there are different areas on the course. The main area of navigation is the top banner, is the course ribbon or the course banner, we call it. So here it gives you options to go to different areas. You can see your classmates, you can see grades, activities within the course, and the teacher information. Below that, there are three sections. The main area of the course, which is the bigger area in the middle, contains all your content. That includes activities, resources, anything that the instructor has posted for you to access. There are also two areas on the left and right. And if you notice, I have one of them open. You can close it from here, or you can click on it to open. So the right side, it's just for easy access to different section of the course. If you notice, it has different sections. So if, for example, you want to jump to a different part of the course, that's just there to allow easy access. On the right side, you'll have again, the blocks. Now, these ones are customized by your instructor. So whatever the instructor feels that would be useful for your course or for your studies, they will add these blocks in here and you can access them. So let's go quickly over some of the activities that are most commonly used within eClass. There we go. So one of the areas is a discussion forum. Discussion forum is a threaded discussion, mainly used when you want to entertain a different idea in a classroom, and there are back and forth communication happening between students. Now, instructors sometimes use this activity just to discuss ideas, and sometimes they use it as a graded item. When it is a graded item, it could be students grading or rating each other's comments or posts, or it could be purely marked by the instructor. Now, depending on what the instructor has added to configuration, you may be able to add media files or images also. We do have a lot of information about how to use these tools on our knowledge base, and I'll show you where you can access the knowledge base. When you're in your eClass, whether or not on your course or not, if you access the user menu, it's the little icon. If you have a picture, it will show here. If not, it will show your initial. So click on the arrow pointing down and click on Help Center. Let me open it in a new tab. If you come here, this is our knowledge base. There's a search bar here, and you can just type whatever it is that you want information on. For example, I just type forum. And then you can go through the list to see what it is. Now, this was a very broad item. Let me say posting. Let's see what that comes. Posting to forums. So you can get all those information, and there are step-by-step instructions with images to help you find what you're looking for. Now, the next activity I want to go over is assignment. This is one of the most popular activities that are used. There are two different types of assignment used, and this is the basic one. Basically, you hand in some work to be graded based on the topic that the instructor has posted. Most of the time, they require you to upload a file, and then you need to check what are the file formats that are accepted. The most safe ones are PDF and Word document. They're mostly accepted. However, the instructor has control over what kind of file. Sometimes it's a media file that you're working on, and they will communicate that with you. Assignments can be group assignments or individual. So if you're having a group assignment, make sure to get in touch with your groups early on. Maybe consider having a group contract that discusses what are the roles, responsibility, deadlines for things. Those are the things that help you out. Also, instructors usually add a rubric that give you hint about what it is that they are looking for in that assignment. So that will be also a good clue for you to see which areas of the work you need to focus on. Again, we have a lot of information about assignments, how you can submit them, FAQ, that can be accessed through the Help Center in our knowledge base. Now, the other variation of assignment is a Turnitin assignment. Turnitin is there to encourage students to do the best original work. And what does that mean? It means it will check the submissions against already existing material. It compares it to information on the internet, previously submitted papers and journals, publication, books, and anything that is available. And it gives you a percentage of how original or maybe what is it called? A match, copy, not copy, exactly matching other materials in there. And that is there for instructor to browse and mark. Now, Turnitin does not have any group activities. It has to be individual, so that option will not be available. It also does not accept image files or anything that has less than 20 words. So that's one of the common inquiries we get. So students have a document that has full of graphs, full of images, but does not have a sentence in there. So the system does not accept them. So your document, when you're submitting a Turnitin assignment, must have at least 20 words. So add a sentence or a short paragraph at the beginning if it's only containing images in order for the system to accept it. Now, when you submit a Turnitin assignment, one important key is to make sure to record your digital receipt. And I'll show you how that looks. So when you're on your course, let's say you want to access your activities. Your activities can be accessed through the course ribbon. You go to activities, you have all list of all this stuff. So Turnitin, it will give you a list of all the Turnitin assignments within this course. So let's say I want to submit a paper. Once you're on that page, you see submit paper down here. You click on this, give it a title, and you drag your assignment to the dashed area. You also need to confirm that this is your own work. So once you check that, you can add a submission. Now on this page, it will give you a digital receipt. Our recommendation is to always get a screen capture. It's very rare for issues to happen, but if it does, this little ID number is what allows us to track and find out your paper, your submission. So it's very important to get a screen capture of your submission just in case. And once that's submitted paper is there, it's available in here. Now, depending on whether or not the instructor has allowed it, you may be able to go back and view your assignment, the one that is submitted. Now you see this one, I've tested with this very same document many times, so it exists and it tells me that my paper, my submission is 100% match because there is a previously submitted document that exactly 100% matches mine. So that is the similarity report, how much of my content is similar to pre-existing content. So that is the Turnitin. So if in case you have submitted a wrong file within the period of time that is before the due date, sometimes you are able to resubmit. So that depends on the configuration that the instructor has added. So if you have submitted a wrong assignment, let's say for instead of your math, you suddenly submitted a geography file by mistake. So check to see if you do have the option of resubmitting. And if that's not there, there is no issue. You can reach out to your instructor, explain the situation, and they can allow you to resubmit. So that's not something you should be worrying about. The next activity is a quiz. Quiz is a very powerful that allows instructors to assess your knowledge based on the course content. It has a variety of different question types, such as multiple choice, true, false, short answer, among many others. Quiz is a timed activity, which means you will have a limited amount of time, and usually they give you a little block of time that you can complete that quiz within that period. There are two different quizzes. One of them is freestyle and the other one is sequential. What does that mean? Freestyle means you can go back and forth between questions. So you don't remember the answer to question number 1, you skip to question 2, but you can always go back. If it is a sequential quiz, you cannot go back. So once you're on question 2, there's no way to go back to question 1. So that's something you want to clarify at the beginning. Mostly instructors do mention that in the class, but double check so you know what the progress is. Now I want to show you, sorry. I want to show you how the quiz looks like. Let me go back in here. Okay, so I want to go to quiz. I'll go quizzes, and let's say I choose the sequential. Now, on your quiz page, when it is within the time frame of the quiz, you will have this one. So if this button is not there, check the start and end date of your quiz. Chances are you may have missed it, or it may have not reached the opening time. So that's something you want to check. If you are within the period of the time that the quiz should be open and this is not there, reach out to your instructor to find out what may be the issue. So when you click on the quiz, it tells you how much time you have and the fact that you cannot pause or stop the timer. When you start the quiz, you'll see the timer starts going down. This is the area you have your questions. You see how many questions you have, and you have a next button to go. Now, this is a sequential, so you cannot go back to question 1, as I mentioned. If it was a free one, you would get another button here that says previous that would allow you to go back. And when you're done, let's say you're completed, it gives you a preview. You get a chance to see what questions you've answered and what you have not answered. There is a submit button. Very important to make sure that you submit the work. If you complete the quiz and you miss this part, let's say you come here and then you don't press this button, the attempt is there, but it's not submitted. So the final mark, the instructor will not be able to grade your work. So very important that you click on the submit button. One other area that I want to mention is, for whatever reason, if you suddenly, for some reason, close the browser or the computer crashes, there is a power outage or anything happens within the period of your quiz and you lose that session, do not panic. While the quiz is still on, which means, let's say you have allowed time between, let's say, 12 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon to complete this 1 hour quiz. 1:30, suddenly something happens. It's still before 2 p.m. and you've lost that page. If you go back, it will go back to that same session. You will not lose anything. So do not panic. If that happens, just go back, browse to the page, and you will get back. Also, make sure to let your instructor know in case if it goes beyond a couple of minutes and you lose time, you want to get some compensation. That's a discussion you should have with your instructor. So you explain what happens. They can see all these within the log. So all your attempts is captured. They can see how, when you logged in, when you logged out, and all of that will be there for them to review. Now let's go and have a look at the next item. Now this, I want to talk about calendar a little bit. Calendar is a very handy tool. As I said, on your course, there are a number of blocks that are available. Now, the instructor may have chosen to add a little mini calendar, or if it's not there, you can always add it to your dashboard. Now, the mini calendar highlights all the events within your course. Now, this one, because it's on a course page, it only shows you the event for this course. If it's on a dashboard, or if you go to the full calendar page, you will see calendar. Okay, you will see all the events across your different courses in there. Now you see a little legend here. You can also add your personal events or activities there. So if you want to schedule things in there, you can. And it gives you a color-coded legend. So it's easy to identify whether it's a user activity, something you've added, is it related to your course or anything else. And you can add different events or activities using this button here. Notification is also important. It sends you email about different activities that happen in your course. Now, how you can access notification? Let me walk you through the process. So when you are on your eClass page, there are a lot of things you can access through the user menu. If you click here, and let's say you go to, for notification, you want to set as your preferences. So you go to Preferences page. On this page, you have notification preferences under user. You go there, and here you get a list of all different types of activities within your course, and you can choose whether or not you want to receive an email. So it's just a matter of toggling the button on. When you get that, you receive an email about, let's say this one is about assignment. So when there's an assignment added, you will get a notification in your email about that assignment. You can also get a web notification. What does that mean? If you notice here, you see a little bell icon with a number. So when it's a web notification, it sends it to your notification center, which is here. And anything new is marked in red up here. So you can see, oh, I have one new notification. You can click on that. You can click on the notification center to open and see what are the notifications that you have received. Some additional resources that you may want to know about are the eClass page that I mentioned. That's here, the Help Center. So eClass, the main eClass page, you can do a lot of different searches here about assignment, quizzes, anything that you have interaction with the course. Another item is the main student IT services. Now let me show you how that looks like. When you go there, you may want to jot down the URL. It's yorku.ca/UIT. Any technical issues you may have, that will be the site you'll need to go to. You have access to students, and once you click there, it has all different areas that you can go and see where fits your inquiry. There's also another site that comes very handy. So let's say you want to submit your assignment and you're having some difficulty. You don't know what is the system down, is it working or not. So this page gives you status of the different system, and eClass is one of the items that is there. So right now it's operational. So it gives you a clue of, is it something that's global at York and everybody's having this issue, or is it something that you're experiencing? So if you see something, for example, like in here, there is some application that on August 7 did have a problem. So if you see this, you know that this is something that's happening across many different areas of eClass. So you are not the only one. In those cases, it's always best to get in touch with your instructor, even if you see this one, but that actually just gives you a peace of mind that it's not something that you're the only person experiencing. Do get in touch with your instructor, but this is a handy page that can give you a little bit of a peace of mind if you are experiencing any difficulty. Now, as just to go over what we covered, we reviewed how you can access eClass. It's eclass.yorku.ca. You need your username, password. You must complete your profile and validate your email before you can go anywhere. It will be stuck on the profile page unless these two steps are complete. Now, different areas of the course, you have the course banner that allows you navigation, the right navigation side, which gives you access to different blocks is important. Make sure to set your subscription, the notification. It's on your user menu, preferences, and you can set that up. Oh, I did not go over grades. Oh, it missed it. Okay, let me just go quickly over grades as well. So if the instructor has allowed you to see grades, you will be able to access them in two ways. And I'll show you how those two are. If you're on a course page and you see grade on the course ribbon, if you click on this, it will give you a list of all the activities that are graded within your course. It says how much the mark can possibly be and how much you have received. There's also a different way of accessing grades, but that gives you different information. On the user menu, if you go to grades in here, this one will give you a list of all the courses you have taken with the final grade. So two different way. This is your final mark, and the other one within the course gives you detailed information about the specific grades you have received. Now let's go back to our summary. So I just mentioned about the grades and how you can access it. Now, this is just a quick overview of eClass. Now, if you have any questions, please submit them in chat and we'll go over them at the end. Thank you. Nick, I think you'll be next with SAVY. Thanks.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Okay, let me get started here. Okay. All right. Hopefully you can see my presentation. So hello, everyone. Thank you. My name is Nick Valentino. I am the program manager for student success initiatives in the Division of Students, and that means that I oversee SAVY, York's student virtual assistant. And I'm here to talk to you about what SAVY is and the best ways to go about using it to make it worthwhile for your purposes. So what SAVY is a generative AI-based chatbot that is designed to answer any question you might have about York, and specifically about academic resources, student services, things like Career Center and counseling and accessibility services, as well as just like registrar's office type questions, like how do you access your grades, how do you enroll in courses, things like that. So the way that SAVY has been designed is it's using the same technology as ChatGPT. So it's not based on ChatGPT, but it uses the same GPT-4o mini technology that powers ChatGPT, and it uses the patterns and the information that we've given it in a catered knowledge base to generate its responses. So it only generates the answers from that knowledge base. So all of the information that it provides is about York. It serves international and domestic students, undergraduate students across all faculties in both English and French. And it's intended to give a single authoritative response. So if you think about like doing a web search, you get pages and pages and pages of results. Hopefully the result you need is on the first page, but even then, that page might include additional information that handles edge cases, things like that. The idea behind SAVY is that you ask a question, it gives you the answer to that question. And it's trained in, it says 500 topics, but I'll explain in a moment that we've lost count of how many topics of conversation about York it's actually trained in. So the way that SAVY functions is we train the content about York that's meant to solve problems and perform tasks relevant to your academic journey at York. It gives that single authoritative response to any question you provide it, ideally so that you're prepared for the conversations you're inevitably going to have with different advisors, right? Whether it's your academic advisor, somebody in the registrar's office, somebody in the Career Center. You'll go to those meetings knowing the information, and they're going to help you apply it to your situation. But in an ideal case, it might even help you just solve the problem yourself. In which case you circumvent the need to talk to an advisor at all. But for the most part, what you're going to end up doing is having the basic information, and then you're going to talk to your academic advisor, for example, and they're going to help you with the specific problem that you need. And obviously it takes a lot of work to make this happen. And so right now, SAVY is answering between 400 and 1,200 student questions every week. So it gets a lot of use. There's a lot of information there, and students are accessing it heavily. Like I said, we cater the information that SAVY has access to. And so you'll see that we started with about 35 files when we launched this last year. Then that quickly grew to 62. Now we're at 75. I think we're actually past 75, to be perfectly honest with you. And like I said, we've lost count on the topics of conversation that SAVY is capable of talking about. The idea is that if you have any question about York, SAVY should be able to answer it, and even if that answer is to point you in the direction of where to find the answer. For the most part, we try to get SAVY to answer the question, but there are certain things that I'll talk about in a minute that it can't answer, but it'll definitely point you in the direction of where to find that information. So some of the things that it can answer questions about are on the screen right now. I won't go through all of them just for the sake of time, but just know that these are the kinds of things that you can ask SAVY about, including help with eClass. It does help provide that. We've fed it with some of the help information that Janine shared with you, so. You can go in, you can ask questions pretty much about everything, but certainly about these topics. Okay, so how it functions, and this is going to get a little technical, but it helps you to understand how you should interact with it. So the way that SAVY functions right now, it's fairly straightforward. You ask a question, it's filtered through the natural language processing. That helps it find the information that's relevant to your question in the knowledge base that we've given it. And so it answers the question. And what this allows us to do is it it answers all the questions. Unfortunately, it means that the information is fairly generic because it doesn't have any private information about you. It doesn't know what faculty you're in, what program you're in, what courses you're enrolled in, things like that. So it's answering the question as best it can without that contextual information. And just so you're aware where we're going with this, and we don't have a timetable yet as to when this will happen, but it will be relatively soon. You'll see that the process, we add a step in there where it gets information from York's systems. So the idea there is that we know a little bit about who you are. So what, like I said, what faculty you belong to, what program you're in, what courses you're enrolled in, what college you belong to, and this will allow SAVY to answer the questions specific to your context. So for example, with our college system, a lot of academic supports are available from your college, like writing help or math help, depending on what program you're in and what college you belong to. When you ask for help in some of those areas, it'll point you to resources that are specific to you. So this is where we're going with it. But we're not there yet. But keep an eye out, because we'll certainly make a big splash when we get there. Okay, so now here's the sort of nitty gritty. How do you interact with SAVY? What's the best way to do that? Well, you want to build a good prompt, and if anybody's used ChatGPT or any sort of generative AI, you know that there's sort of 4 key elements to building a good prompt. One is that it's best to give the AI a persona. You want to give it the task that you want to solve. You want to provide context that helps it understand that task. And then finally, you want to ask for the format that information should be provided to you. So this is generally how you would interact with ChatGPT. And like I said, if you've used it, you've probably sort of either stumbled upon this or you've learned that this is the way you do it. With SAVY, we've kind of given you a shortcut with this. See, SAVY has something that's called a system message. And what that does is it fills in the persona and the context and the format. And specifically what it says is that SAVY should function much like a peer mentor in terms of its tone and and the kind of language it uses, and it provides context to the bot around what York University is and where it is, and some sort of key information about that. And then of course the format is that it's going to deliver the information as a text response to your question. So it provides all of that system message that's built into SAVY provides that, which means that all you really have to do is give it the task. So you can ask fairly straightforward questions like, where is Very Hall? Or how do I drop a course after the deadline? Or what's York's grading scale? So you still want to ask your question like you're talking to another person, but it means that you don't have to necessarily build those highly detailed prompts like you might have experienced in working with a ChatGPT or something like that. So to talk about best practices, it's still best to be specific. It's not a search engine. So where is Very Hall is going to get you a response where just saying Very Hall might not. It might fill in the gaps. It might not. Best to phrase it as a question, sort of like Jeopardy. Use follow-ups. So sometimes you'll ask a question and it might invite you to provide more information so that you can get a more specific response. So for example, where do I get academic advising? It will give you sort of general information, a link to a page that shows all the different academic advising offices. But then if you can follow up that with where do I get academic advising in my particular program, business economics, computer engineering, nursing, then it will have that information in its knowledge base, and it will often be able to give you the specific office. And this is the kind of thing that the new version of SAVY that I talked about, where it has some of that information. In the future, all you'll have to do is say, I need to talk to an academic advisor, and it will know you're in such and such program, that this is where your academic advising office is. So that's why we're moving in that direction. And then the other thing is to try rephrasing. It is still it's still learning in a lot of ways. Like we've trained it on this knowledge base, but sometimes the way you ask a question doesn't connect with the information that's in the knowledge base. So try rephrasing the question using a different terminology, and often you'll get that. So I gave I show an example here. What fields are included in mentorship programs? Didn't actually get an answer. This comes directly from our logs. But the question, can I get a mentor in the name of the program? Then that actually did get an answer. So how do you access Savvy? Well, there's a bunch of different ways to do that. First and foremost, a lot of York's websites have this big Ask Savvy button at the bottom right of the screen. If you click on that, it'll open up Savvy. You can start asking your questions. It's the same, you have access to all the same information no matter where you are. It's not tied to the website that you're in. So you can be on the current student's website and ask questions about the Career Center. Totally fine. Similarly, if you go into eClass, you'll see at the bottom right the little question mark icon, which is where you get help for eClass. One of the places you can get help for eClass is Savvy, and so the Ask Savvy button is available through clicking on that question mark. There's also you'll also see signs, both digital and physical posters around campus in September that have QR codes that you can use to access Savvy that way. So what it'll do is it'll pull up the Savvy web page. You just click the Ask Savvy button, and you can use it there. Or you can just go to this URL, go.yorku.ca/asksavvy. And if you go to that URL on your phone or on your laptop or your desktop computer, no matter where you use it, you will be able to access Savvy. Again, it'll load up the page. You click the Ask Savvy button at the bottom of the screen, and you can start having your conversations. And that's everything from me. So I thank you for paying attention and the time to talk to you today. I very much appreciate it. And also happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, so thank you so much for the presentation. We're now going to move into the Q&A portion. I see we already have questions coming in through the chat. And for anyone who would like to ask a question but prefers not to speak up, you're welcome to send it to me as a private message through the Zoom feature. I'll make sure it gets asked for you so everyone can benefit from the answer. And while we're waiting for more questions to come in, I'll start off with a few questions that I saw. So for the first question, for students who are brand new to eClass and maybe feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all the features, what's the very first thing you would recommend they do once they log in for the first time to make sure that they're set up for success?
Well, as I said, for the very first time you log into eClass, you need to complete your profile. So start from there, put your information, first name, last name, email address. You receive that link in your email, confirm that. It's a very easy tool to use. So there's no reason for you to be overwhelmed. I can show you again one more time where you can see all the items in your course. So let me share the screen one more time. I'll have that here. So on your eClass page, you go to My Courses. You see all the courses listed there. All your courses listed under My Courses. So it's very easy to use. Once you're in a course, you can get in touch with your instructor. It is honestly it is a very easy course, easy tool to use, and the instructor will be there to walk you through the process. So You can go to our knowledge base. We have FAQs for different areas. So if you just type in FAQ, you get all sort of different areas. Questions that are asked by different students. These are based on what we have received previously. So any information that we get and that's applied across different courses and applied to many students, we add them there. So you will have that access. It's available and you can always refer to them.
Awesome, great. Thank you for breaking that down. That's going to be really helpful for anyone logging in for the first time. Another question regarding to eClass. Sometimes with platforms like eClass, there are features or tools that students don't really notice right away, but can make a big difference in staying organized and engaged. Are there any lesser known features in eClass that you think students should make a habit of using?
The notification is a good tool to use. So you will once you're subscribed to different areas for different activities, you get notifications. So every time there is a deadline, there's a new activity added, or if it's a forum and you're required to make maybe comments, replying to posts from your peers, it gives you a notification and you can stay on track with them. There's also different features that instructor may enable. So one of the items is a progress bar that shows you how far across through your course you are. So that is again is something that the instructor will need to enable. But in terms of what you can do as a student, calendar is a good item to have. It allows you to keep track of all the stuff in one shot. So if you go to the calendar, a notification would be the best. Those are the things that help you stay in on top of your work.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that question and giving a great tip. So another question for eClass. Missing an important update or announcement from a professor can cause a lot of unnecessary stress. I've been through there. I've been there. Could you share your advice for how students can make sure they're staying on top of all notifications and announcements, especially for people that are in a blended course setting? Um, how can you make use of like staying updated and getting any announcements from a professor? I know you mentioned the notification settings, but is there anything else in addition to that?
The only other place, so if you have then preferences set to receive email, you get a copy of the note in your email. The other area would be the notification center itself. So two habit is a good thing to have. And that is uh, as soon as you log into eClass, check the notification center, and that's the little bell icon at the top right corner. You see anything that's added there. But that is also based on your preferences that are set in the notification center. So that's one thing. The other thing is check the announcement forum. The announcement forum is in every course. It's a one-way communication, so do not panic if you cannot reply. It's only one way. It's from the instructor to students, so you don't have reply or ask questions. And that's the area you should check. So make a habit of checking your announcement forum and the notification center to see if there are anything new happening in that course.
Awesome, great. Thank you for answering that question. I would second that as well. I would recommend checking eClass every single day just to make sure that you're not missing anything. Um, Someone would like to know what's a blended classroom?
A blended classroom is a combination of online and in person. So it's basically the strategy that the instructor uses to deliver the material and how they engage the students.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that question. We have a question for SAVY. For students who are just hearing about SAVY or maybe haven't used it yet, could you walk us through a real example of how it can help a student plan out their courses, track their degree progress, and stay on top of requirements?
Yeah, absolutely. So the one of the things, because Savvy is still relatively new in this sort of incarnation, is that it doesn't know things like when your assignments are due, or uh, what course, even because it doesn't know what courses you're in, things like that. What it's really good for is, for example, if you're confused about um, uh, how you go about enrolling in your courses, or when you should be enrolling in your courses. That's a good example of a way to use it. If you have questions regarding, for example, you're looking for sort of career advice, it can point you in the right direction for things like that. And certainly, like, anything registrarial is the term that we use for it. So like important dates, like if you're struggling in a course, you're thinking about dropping it, you'll want to make sure that you're aware of, what the deadline is to do that, and how you go about doing that. And things like, if you're realizing that you're not in the right program, you want to make a change, it'll help walk you through the process of changing your program, things like that. Like, those are the kinds of things that it can help you with right now, while we're still connecting it to the various systems it needs to answer more specific questions about, like, your courses and your assignments, and things like that.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that question, Nick. We have another question. I'm so sorry, something's wrong with my throat today. But we have another question for eClass. So someone has asked, if we have a blended classroom, how do we know when the class will be online or in person? And if it's in person, how do we know where it is?
That would be communicated through your instructor. So the instructor will let you know whether or not it's an in-person or in online, and they will give you the specific information if it's on a Zoom meeting or if it's just a recorded session they are delivering. So that would be a communication you'll have with your instructor. And let me check to see if the classroom itself is not listed on eClass. So that would be on, I believe, when you're checking your enrollment and the classes that you are, probably that information is available there. I don't know the specific, that I don't have access to that, but that's something that you can check on your enrollment system. I think it will tell you when you register for a course, what days they are and what room you have to go in.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that question. We have another question for Savi. Um, when it comes to academic planning, small errors can really cause delays or stress later on. Are there common mistakes you've seen students make when using Savvy that they should be aware of or that they can avoid?
Yeah, so especially with regards to plan, like academic planning, again, because Savvy doesn't have access to your personal information just yet. Right now, it has to point you to the academic calendar for you to sort of navigate what your requirements are, what courses you should be looking at, and that sort of thing. And the thing to remember about using York's academic calendar is that you want to be looking at the version of the calendar that corresponds to when you've entered the program you're in. So you, as incoming students, you're going to be looking at the 2025 academic calendar. So the one that's just published, and if you just go to the academic calendar right now, that's what you're going to see first and foremost. But next year, when you want to be looking at your program requirements, you're going to want to go to the previous years, the 2025 academic calendar, because requirements can change over the course of even over from one year to the next. But you're going to be held to the requirements of that were in place when you started in your program. And so this is another reason why we want Savvy to have access to your personal information, so that we can point you to the right calendar page that you'll need. But in the meantime, that's the thing to keep in mind. You're going to want to go to the 2025 academic calendar, because that's when you've entered into your program.
Awesome. Just a follow-up question from that. How is Savvy different from ChatGPT?
Well, what the primary difference is that Savvy has been trained in current York information. So, if you know anything about generative AI, you have this large language model that is trained on lots of information across the internet, but that it's only trained up to a particular date. And so anything that's changed after that date, it can't know about it. So that's how we make Savvy different, is that we're constantly feeding it updated information about York, so that when you ask the question, you're not going to get information from like 2023 or 2024. You're getting information from today. And we have a team that's our job is to make sure that Savvy's information is entirely up to date. So that's why you're going to want to, if you have questions about York, you're going to want to turn to Savvy and not ChatGPT, because you're going to get the most current information.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that question, Nick. I'm seeing a few more questions in my DMs related to Savvy again. What is the newest update that Savvy has gone through?
We've made an update yesterday. Yeah, so we're like almost certainly at least once a week, but often several times a week, we're uploading either new information into Savvy or changes to information into Savvy. So, for example, our Career Center has just recently moved. It's in a new location, and so yesterday we uploaded that new location into Savvy, so that if you're asking where the Career Center is, it's going to point you in the right direction. So those are the kinds of things. Like almost daily, we're getting information from various areas across campus. We're updating that in Savvy and training the bot on that new information.
Awesome, amazing. Thank you so much for answering that question, Nick. I'm just going through my messages to make sure that I've got everything. Awesome, I got everything. Thank you so much for answering all of those questions. I think students are going to leave here feeling much more confident using both eClass and Savvy. And before we wrap up, we have a little quick Menti, a feedback survey that students can go through.
All right, everyone. Thank you again for sitting through the presentation. We hope you're able to learn so much about eClass and Savvy in general and how they could both be useful for your York journey. So we'd like to hear your feedback. Let us know what you learned today after today's session. So how satisfied are you with today's session? And again, if you're just joining us or you didn't join us in the beginning, please join at menti.com and use the code 48673269. Okay, most folks are mostly satisfied. That's wonderful to see. And we have a neutral, which is great as well. Well, thank you for joining us today. And to our next question, is there anything you still have questions about? Was there anything covered that you felt like you didn't get an answer to? No, thanks for the session. That's wonderful. We're glad you're able to learn so much today, and we hope all your questions were definitely covered. Okay, next slide. What other topics would you like us to cover in future sessions? As this is our last info session for the summer semester before your September classes begin, what other topics would you have liked us to cover? Even during our parents and family orientation day, is there anything you're looking forward to during those sessions? All right, I'm going to assume that most of the topics have been covered. Thank you again for joining us. Please scan the QR code on the screen to sign up for upcoming events throughout the rest of the summer semester, and we're great to see you there. I'm going to pass it on to Caitlin now.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you so much to Janene and Nick for such an informative and engaging presentation. And thank you to everyone who joined us and contributed your questions. We hope this session helped you understand exactly what eClass and SAVY are and how to use these tools to your advantage. If you have any questions after today's session, or if you need further support, please don't hesitate to reach out. Can someone put our email in the chat? You can always contact us there. We'll be sharing follow-up information and resources shortly after to help everyone feel more prepared. You can also view a recording of this session on our YouTube channel soon. Once again, thank you so much for being here. We can't wait to welcome you to the campus soon. Have a great rest of your day.